but it's me. There's this spark in my life back. Now I want to show you how I stand back.
Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Gigi and today I'm going to be talking to you about the new HBO show starring Zendaya called Euphoria. So I just wanted to come and give like a quick little review of what I thought of the first episode because woo, I have so many thoughts. Like this show was sorry, my neighbors are screaming. But this show was very highly anticipated, mainly because obviously Zendaya stars in it. And as we all know, she's like a former Disney star, and this is like her first like big mature role. My nail is broken, yes, please ignore it. But this is her first like big mature role that's like very raw and like talks about drug use and sex and all of these like very taboo topics that she would have never talked about as a Disney star. So let me just say that this show did not disappoint when it came to all of that. So basically the show starts off, it stars Zendaya as this girl named Rue last week of summer before going into her senior year of high school. So first it starts off with just giving us some backstory on her. She was born 3 days after 9/11. So like the very first thing that she sees when she was born is freaking George Bush talking about 9/11 and like the Twin Towers and everything. Kind of traumatic for like the first thing a baby sees. And by the time she's like a young child, maybe like 5 or 6 years old, she gets diagnosed with OCD, bipolar disorder, anxiety, and like something else. She just has a lot of mental health problems. So from a very young age she starts, oh my god, my neighbors are screaming so loud. These freaking kids. Okay. So from a very young age, Rue starts taking medication in order to regulate all of these different mental illnesses that she has. And because of that, she ends up very dependent on these medicines and ends up like addicted to drugs. So fast forward to this last week of summer before senior year, Zendaya has just, sorry, why am I calling her Zendaya? Her name's Rue in the show. So Rue has just come back from 3 months of rehab because she overdosed, and it was actually really gruesome. Her little sister found her, she overdosed, and she was forced to go into rehab. So she wants to go to this party the last week of summer or whatever, but she lies to her mom and says that she's going to someone else's house. But before she can even leave the house, her mom forces her to take a drug test. And of course, Zendaya has no, why do I keep calling her Zendaya? Of course, Rue has no intentions of getting clean, so she asks a friend to borrow some of her urine in order to pass this fake drug test. Very real stuff, very raw. Like the way it kind of goes down is very, I don't know, Zendaya's like narrating the whole time, so you hear her thoughts about how she feels about it, and you could tell that like she's not proud of what she's doing, but she just can't help it. Like the whole thing is that she does all these drugs because she's trying to find like these 2 seconds of peace, of quiet that she felt, or that she believes that she felt before she was born. So yeah, so she does the fake drug test, she goes to this party, everybody's turning up or whatever, high school stuff, but like nothing like the high school parties I went to. I didn't even really get invited to high school parties, but if I did get invited to high school parties, it was nothing, they would have been nothing like this, because these kids are all super sexually active, like having sex in a pool and like doing drugs. And Zendaya goes to the party, oh my god, Rue goes to the party, she's like snorting coke or like crushed up pills in the bathroom and stuff. So then meanwhile, while all of this is happening, the series kind of overlaps with a B plot with this other girl. What's her name? Jules. So this other girl, Jules, is a new girl. She stands out immediately as soon as you see her. One of the characters describes her as like Sailor Moon because she like dresses kind of alternative, I guess. She dresses in kind of like the soft like pink aesthetic or whatever. And she's also on drugs. The very first time we see her, she's like shooting up into her leg. Very graphic. She's like talking to this older guy, and she shoots up while she's getting ready to go meet this older guy that she's never met in some like seedy motel. So while Zendaya, Rue, is at this party with all these high school kids, Jules goes to the seedy motel and like meets this older guy. He's like super creepy and like tells her that like he's jealous of her generation and that he wishes that he had all the possibilities that she did, because one day she's gonna get up and like leave this town or whatever, and he's been stuck in the town and like in these seedy motels or whatever. super creepy. The whole time he's like putting his fingers in her mouth and stuff. I was like, ew, this is so weird. And like, it was honestly hard to watch, but that wasn't even like the worst part of that. Like, afterwards they end up like hooking up, the old guy and Jules, and it's just like very clear that like, I don't know, that like it shouldn't have happened. Like, he made no efforts to make her feel comfortable, and like, he's so creepy. Yeah, so after that, Jules like ditches that old guy, and then she joins everybody at the party. And of course, Zendaya's character Rue is there with like her other friend. I can't remember what his name is, but he looks like a mix of like Mac Miller and Zayn Malik. Like, if they had a baby, that's what this guy would look like. And he's like telling her that like he really hopes that she gets off the drugs or whatever, because he's seen too many people die, and that he likes her and all this and all that. And she's kind of just like, ah ha ha, like she's not trying to stop doing drugs. Meanwhile, this other random couple is like fighting. Like, it's just like a lot of craziness happening at this party. Like, a lot of experimentation, it seems like, a lot of sexual awakening, just crazy like adolescent shit, basically. So Jules shows up to this party, and she like texted this other person who was hosting the party, but I don't think they were hosting, actually. She was just a friend that she knew that was also going to this party, to let her know that she was there. But this girl was also doing her own like weird little shit with like these three guys that are like really objectifying her and like trying to get her to take her clothes off and like do sexual stuff, and like she's trying to impress them, but like she's very inexperienced. So her friend was busy, so she didn't respond. So the host, one of the hosts of the party, this random white guy whose girlfriend was the one, his ex-girlfriend was the one that was out hooking up in the pool with somebody else, starts like getting all pissed. He's like, who are you? Why are you here? I don't know you, blah 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 blah, and starts like threatening her. And then Jules is like not having it and pulls out a knife on him, like dead ass pulls out a knife on him and is like, fuck with me, like fuck with me, like I dare you, get away from me or whatever. So it's crazy. He backs off, but like somehow she still ends up getting hurt. So then finally, oh, I forgot to mention an important part, I guess, or this is like a minor detail, but in the beginning of the show, Zayn Malik / Mac Miller hybrid tells Rue, Zendaya, that he thinks that her and this girl Jules will become friends. So then later, after this whole altercation happens between Jules and that random white guy, they do become friends. They end up leaving the party together, and they end up doing drugs together, which is basically how the show ends. At the very end of the episode, we find out that the man, that the old guy that Jules was hooking up with, was the father of that guy that like she had the altercation with at the party, the one that she pulled the knife on. And it was just like so like, it was shocking, but at the same time I was like, wow, like I'm not even surprised that like this grimy ass dude's dad is capable of doing something like this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm really excited to see how this season's gonna go. I loved everything about the cinematography. I loved the editing. Like, I loved the shots, like especially the close-up shots of like Zendaya's face that they would have a lot, like with smoke, and like they used colors a lot to convey emotion in this rather than just like speaking it. Of course, like she had a voiceover throughout most of the episode, and like just the tone of her voice like conveyed that she was like not happy about what she was doing, but that she literally like couldn't help it. But I think that the colors that were used in this like conveyed like a sense of like melancholy and like yearning and sadness, and like, oh, like it was just so good. Like I love the cinematography. I loved it so much. And like a lot of the times, instead of like explicitly saying things, even like with the cinematography, they would just have it kind of be silent, like no background music, no other sounds except for like one sound that would just kind of like get under your skin and make you really uncomfortable. Like the scene where Jules is hooking up with that guy's dad, and like all you hear is her kind of just like uncomfortable, like moaning. Like I thought that was so, like it made my skin crawl, but it was so good. Like I felt like I was there, like I felt like I was with her, like experiencing this with her, and like it was just so raw and like so good. But the reason why I wanted to do a review on this is because I feel like just for this one pilot episode, the show addresses so many important topics that are like wow, like in such like a candid and like very real 2019 modern way of talking about them. So for example, there's like this one scene where I don't know the name of this actor, but I just know that he played Ralph in the VH1 like New Edition story. He plays this character named McKay, who is like the host of this house party that's happening, and he's like in this room with like all his boys or whatever. For some reason, all of them are shirtless, and they're just like talking shit about like girls in their high school. He's like telling them that he really likes this girl named Cassie who's coming to the party. He's been seeing her, and that he wants to like take it to the next level with her or whatever. So I guess like hook up. And the like white guy that ends up starting the altercation with Jules tells him, oh, she's a slut or whatever, like here's the proof. And he pulls up this page that somebody created, what's it called? I think they call it like a slut book or whatever. It's basically this page that somebody created filled with like lewd photos, basically nude photos, and like a sex tape that this girl made that were obviously leaked without her consent. And while the scene is going on, obviously McKay's character is kind of like very disgusted, but he finds himself still like looking at it and obviously kind of being influenced, as teenage boys tend to be influenced by each other. And while it's happening, you hear Rue on the voiceover kind of being like, these guys are shaming us because we're taking pictures of our bodies or whatever, and it's 2019. Unless you're Amish, nudes are the love language, so stop shaming us. And I thought that was so powerful, especially like in light of what just happened with Bella Thorne and Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know if you guys know about that, but basically somebody threatened to leak her nudes, and instead of letting that happen, she kind of decided to get ahead of it and like leaked them herself. She just tweeted them, and Whoopi Goldberg on The View was like, oh wow, well she shouldn't have done that, she shouldn't have taken the pictures in the first place if she didn't want this to happen, like basically just slut shaming her. And Bella Thorne was like, so like, she went on Instagram and she was like crying and stuff, being like, stop slut shaming us. And I think that like this scene in Euphoria came at a perfect time for that, like exactly what Zendaya said, stop shaming us. Every girl does these things, you know, like it's about owning your sexuality. I'm really excited to see where this is gonna go. I love that Zendaya is the star of this show. I feel like she's so current and like, not to use the word woke because it's kind of overused, but woke, and like she's young and fresh, and like I feel like she's bringing a fresh face and a new audience to like this type of subject, this very taboo subject that like often people don't want to talk about, like mental illness, sexuality, drug use, what else? Suicide, basically. Like her overdose, I guess, could be counted as suicide, you know what I mean? Like very taboo topics, and I'm just really excited to see where the show is gonna go. I cannot wait to see if it gets gay, because when I was watching the trailer, like before even seeing the episode, I was like, this seems a little gay, like between like Rue and Jules. And then watching the first episode, I was kind of like, like maybe, but like I don't really know, you know what I mean? So we'll see. I'm planning on doing a review for every single episode to get myself consistent on this YouTube shit. So please tune in. If you liked it, please give this a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end, comment a sun emoji, not the like basic one with like the rays or whatever, but like the one with the face. And yeah, I'm so looking forward to watching the show and letting you guys know my thoughts for the rest of the season. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.